Welcome in. We call the Man Cave Experience with myself, Ron Servan, the amazing Cedric Edison, and just loving this space as always. So really appreciate you, repeat listeners, new listeners, those that just maybe pop in from time to time. We appreciate each and every one of you. Love the fact you're here. Still in this format of twice a month. This week, really focusing in on a topic that really connects with Cedric and I, and I'll let Cedric introduce the topic, but um, and then at the end of the month, bringing in a guest, a special guest that we feel is somebody that really can take it to that next level. And Dom Campbell, a close friend, fellow coach, fellow dad, is going to be joining us on a different date in 2 weeks. He's going to be here on the 22nd, which is a Monday. So just a little bit change of time and date for that. Not time, but date. But just excited to be here. I know Cedric knows I'm going through a little bit of challenges in my life with pain and just, kind of getting to the root of the pain. It's not our topic tonight. So just checking in, feeling good. But just Cedric, I love just the fact that you're showing up here for us and for the listeners, for myself as well. Just how you checking in today? What's going on in the world of Texas?
Man, Texas. Overall, everything good, man. People still without water. It's crazy. Almost a month later. But yeah, man, checking in real good. Got a lot of super highs on a professional level, personal level. Got some stuff, leveling out. So, man, all is good in my neck of the woods, man. And just ready to jump in. And I'm still feeling bad that you hurt, man. That you're going through all that. And we'll probably talk about that later, y'all.
Yes.
Not on this episode, but later on another episode. For sure.
So Sec, just maybe give us the gist of the conversation tonight, and I'll kind of bring in the listeners just to kind of how we're going to dive in deep to the conversation.
Yeah. And before I do that, y'all, I see we got a couple of people joining us live. Hey, we appreciate y'all spending this time. Hey, if you want to make some comments and interact with us, go ahead and give StreamYard the permission. None of your information is shared. It just allows you into our room, into our space, so we can see the comments and throw them up on the screen. But yeah, man, this week, guys, and this month, we're leaning into harmonious relationships, and just how we showing up for the people in our lives and interacting with the people in our lives, and even strangers. We could still have those types of relationships, in our life. And so we wanted to just come and just chop it up. Two dudes talking about something most dudes might not talk about. Because I know I can't remember the last time, when I was one of those dudes like, oh, hey, man, how do you lean into relationships and harmonious relationships? Nah, it wasn't happening. So here we are, man, just showing up for men and women, however you identify, and to share that and share our thoughts and interact with y'all, man.
And it's just it's that juggling act sometimes, right? Because we, Cedric and I have some similarities as far as where we're at in our life. We're both coaches. We're both dads. We have sons that are of different age, so we've got different challenges, different things that are going on in each other's lives, and then just how we're bringing those experiences into our relationships with others. And just an area of focus that we'll be speaking really in depth with Dom in a couple of weeks is just being a dad, being a coach. How do you blend the two, or is there the need to blend the two? I look back in my life of having baseball coach, soccer coach, and just how that individual impacted my life, and just the definition of what they really needed to do to allow me to grow in a way that I needed to. But then becoming more of a life coach, health coach, and just focusing on different aspects of life, not just throwing a baseball or hitting a baseball, but how to be mindful, how to show up in a different way, and then how to, if necessary, shift that into being a dad. Am I learning a way to bring my coaching practice into my experience with my son? Am I deciding in certain situations just to maybe take off my coaching hat and just be present with him and not necessarily feel like I need to do anything other than just sit there with him and be there with him, which is something we may do as a coach as well. but just noticing about ourselves. I think that's, for me, is just so important in our lives, when we can notice things about ourselves without judgment, without this idea that I need to change something. Just, who am I showing up as? What am I doing in each situation to really allow myself to be a coach, be a dad, be an entrepreneur, be a friend, to be a husband? All these things that, in hopes that these harmonious relationships, where it's felt on both sides. It's not just a one-way experience where, at the end of the day, I feel good about what I, provided you, but it's like you have that equal experience back, and we can reminisce and remember and reflect upon those beautiful moments, again, as a father, as a son, as a friend. So said, knowing your son is much younger than my son. So your coaching, is probably a different style and a different impact on Messiah, because you have different life experience. You've got different things in your life that are going on that impact your decision making. So when you look at your life now, what would you say is the one thing that coaching has allowed you to do to be the best dad that you can be?
Damn, one. Man, awareness. Awareness.
So did that come quickly for you, or is that something that's
and it's definitely a process. And I'm still learning and getting comfortable with being aware, like self-aware and aware of my surroundings. And aware of my T and what that is, my thinking, my emotions, and my actions. And it's been a process, because we were kind of talking offline before. Man, when I was ripping and running in the streets and drinking, drugging, out there running with the women, I wasn't aware of anything. It was just, oh, hey, let's have fun, let's do this, right? Type of deal. It wasn't like, man, who am I being right now? And how am I showing up? And truth be told, it still happens, because life happens, and emotions, you can get emotionally drunk and still have these rifts. And then where I'm at now is able to be aware of the recent past too. Being able to go back and look at some of that stuff and say, okay, well, maybe I was valid here. Maybe I could have did this different or said that different. So that's what it's done for me. Is the one thing I would have to say. It's helped me become more aware all around.
And it's interesting for you is becoming a coach. I wouldn't say at a later age. I mean, I've become a coach later in my life than you have with in your journey, but that kind of coinciding with the birth of your son, and just how the newness of being a coach, the newness of being a dad, and just how that has really probably shaped so much of who you are as in both realms, and just to be able to recognize that it's not going back in the past and trying to pull from a career that maybe it's taken a long time, because you've been in it so long. These are such new experiences still for you, just to, have a conversation with a potential client, to have that, small talk with your son when he starts putting words together and he's able to communicate with you, and just recognizing. And again, this isn't, we talk about, is there a line between being a coach and being a dad? Maybe for some there is that need, because it's so, so intense, or there's that desire to have that clear separation. But for me, it's that willingness, again, just to notice, that there's that space to grow from, not to be so black and white, not to have things so rigid in either one. Having structure, having opportunity to create boundaries and understand, and both coaching and being a parent are important, but also having the space that becomes available as those relationships grow, and creating that harmony together.
Yeah, I feel man, I feel you. I was just thinking, man, as you was talking, and just thinking about, how young Mosiah is and all of that. It's almost like we growing together. Because that's when the journey was kind of really starting. Like when she was pregnant, like I was still kind of brand new. I think we had just got out of school around that time. So man, I'm not even gonna lie, like at this point in my growth journey, it's almost better for me to remain in coach mode, because it's a little different. Like, you got a teenager, so, and like you were saying, he might be like, man, dad, I ain't trying to hit it right now, dude. Most teens might be like that, where, for me, it's and you've coached me before. I'm a very emotional person, and still dealing with a lot of anger and past issues. So it's quick for me to go 0 to 1,000. So if I'm not in coach mode, it's easy for me to be in that state.
Right.
But if I'm aware and I can get in that, then it's like, okay, well, then I can okay people,
Right.
and not take stuff personally. Like, oh, okay, well, that's your thought, your opinion, cool.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, what you said hurt me, let me say something back.
Right.
Type of deal. So, I don't know. But it's still been a harmonious balance. I think it changes as you change. That grip. Sometimes you gotta not necessarily be that helicopter parent or whatever, or that micro manager. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, like from the leader standpoint. For those people that might be listening, saying, "Well, I'm not a coach, but you might be a leader at your job."
Right.
Like, or a manager, like how are you coming home and managing the relationships, which could be beneficial, because I tell a lot of people a lot of times, like, yo, if you want better relationships at home, manage how you handle the situations at home, how you would handle them at work.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily, and that could end a lot, because you can't just say and go off the cuff when you're at work. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring some of those skills back to the house or wherever, to the church or wherever you might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just something that came up when I was just kind of thinking about that.
Yeah. And I think, I was just thinking back as you were talking about, when I look back in time when Anthony was young, and he played baseball, and I, for a couple of years, I was an assistant coach, and I started noticing things about myself where I wouldn't single him out per se, but I would have those thoughts and feelings about what I think he should be doing, versus kind of allowing him to learn and grow in a team atmosphere and not putting that pressure on him. So I guess I'm curious for him, you know, maybe in a conversation I could have with him at some point, you know, and allow him to, kind of feel out a situation where I'm, giving him advice, talking to him about life, sharing with him something that went on in my life in a way that it feels like it's dad talking to me versus dad being a coach. Because I think there's that little bit of a history of, I wouldn't say in a bad way, but just having your dad as the coach, could be very overwhelming. You look at some of the children that have those overbearing parents that, that the child, every time he swings the bat, he's looking back at dad to see if he's getting his
Right.
and he's on pins and needles. And since some kids thrive in that situation, they want that that heavy burden from their father because they just thrive on that. Anthony wasn't one of those kids. He was sensitive. He didn't want to hear me ask him as he's walking by me, why you didn't swing at that pitch. It's like wasn't the time and place. So I'm just curious in having this conversation how if I've done a relatively good job of transitioning from being maybe that coach in baseball that had a different job and a different mindset to becoming, a coach, a life coach, health coach, and then just kind of becoming a father of a son that's now 16, and just how that's evolved in a way that doesn't feel like, because I think it can be overwhelming, right? I mean, it could be like, well, I can't live up to my dad's expectations. He's coaching these people and making, allowing them to experience these amazing things in life. How could I ever live up to, now my dad's like trying to coach me to be that amazing person. And again, maybe that there are those children out there that will benefit from that, but I think it's our job to be mindful of paying attention to how our children are reacting and interacting with us when we're being authentic and having these conversations and connecting, and we don't feel like we're just, I wouldn't say treating them as a client, but just being more, maybe too much structure to where we're, kind of creating just that expectation that they're struggling with to meet. They want to please dad. They want to make him happy. So I think it's just that, again, it's just that noticing about ourselves, how does that energy feel when we're in those situations where we're moving from dad to coach, coach to dad, dad coach, coaching our sons, things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Because I'm like, ooh, we might have one of these. Because I'm like, yo, but a part of that too, that awareness piece is almost like us having to. Well, let me say it like this. Like my thought on a good leader or a good coach is to be able to engage in conversations and lead/coach without the other person even knowing that you're leading or coaching.
Yep.
Right? Because any other way, then if I'm giving advice or pushing my agenda on you, then I'm not coaching. I'm training at that point.
Yep.
So I'm like, and it could change, because I don't have that real interaction. Well, at least when it comes to my son, because I was just thinking like, yo, you practice those skills, or at least I do as a coach, like, oh, okay, let's practice conversation starters. Just trying to talk with somebody and they say something and you're like, yo, that's a limiting belief, and it's like, yo, it's in me to help. And I want to help my kid or whoever through this situation. So I could see that, but and as I was talking, I was like, I could see where that could possibly become an issue once you start to take shots of the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And you took something personally and or you agreed with what they just said. And I'll say it that way because I don't want to get real deep on the heavy and impeccable word. But you engage in whatever they're saying.
Well, and
So
two,
I can see that being a problem for sure. Like, hey, I'm not trying to hear that.
and then factor in different age and going through puberty, and you start getting a few hormonal imbalances, and we continue our kind of experience, right? Not as shifting as much. We're older, we're established in what we're doing in our life. We've got our set of beliefs. We've got all these things that are pretty well in place. And then we've got a teenager that is going through all these changes. They want to be heard. They're learning more and more about themselves. They want independence. So, I think those are situations where it'd be interesting to have this conversation with you, when Messiah is a teenager, and just to see how your growth in the area of continuing that effort to bring that experience to your son in a way that feels very natural, like you've been doing as an amazing dad now, and just how that looks, because I think and you will experience those days in the near future where it's like they know everything, they know more than you.
Right.
So in those situations, I want to put my coach hat on and try to coach him through a situation. It's not going to, he may, he's just going to flat out just say, I'm done with this. I'm going to my room and I'm going to, hang out with my friends. So it's like, how do we not how do we provide that in different phases of our children's lives to still have that ability to coach them, to father them, to love them, to connect with them in a way, like you said, that's just very, there's no evidence that anything else other than that is happening. They're feeling loved, they're feeling heard, they're feeling connected. And just that ability to feel harmony, right? Just that
Right.
ease of energy flowing back and forth between you and that human being that you're connected to. And,
Right.
and
Right.
whatever we need to do to make that happen is should be part of our purpose in life, right? I mean, it's if we want to hand off our life to somebody else that's going to take their life to the next level and live even a better life than we've been able to live, we have to show them what harmony is, and by giving them that ability to connect with us at the deepest level to feel that energy.
Hell yeah. Uh, like I was like, yo, he just hit the nail on the head. That's it. Because that's that harmony is having that harmonious exchange of energy.
Mhm.
Um, that's the key. That's the key. Is how we're showing up. Um, because if we show up the right way, easier said than done. Easier said than done. But if we show up the right way, then it's almost like we can, for lack of a better word, manipulate. But that's a horrible word to say right there, because I'm not trying to say manipulate, but navigate those situations a little better,
Mhm.
and navigate the other person's stuff a
Mhm.
little better.
Yeah.
Um, and again, y'all, I'm saying it's easier said than done. And if y'all go back and watch our other episodes, we kind of give blueprints. It's a, it's a lot of stuff you can do.
Well, and that's so true. I think that's where, with any topic we talk about, with any shift in your life that you're wanting to experience, it's that just that leaning in, right? It's that 1%, maybe it's that 1% every day of creating that change. It doesn't have to be 50% today and 50% tomorrow that I'm there. It's the journey of where you're going, how you're going to get there, and all those memories that you're creating by, maybe feeling that harmony within you, having that calmness and awareness that you possess, and that's obviously has to happen to be able to give that to somebody else. But then once you've had that, just sharing that gift with somebody else, letting them experience that harmonious side of you, and they're like, God, I want some of that. I want to experience more of that. I want to spend more time with you. I want to hang out with you. I want to learn from you. And that's where our children, we want them to be able to yearn for that, right? Just that deeper connection, that willingness to
Yeah.
bond at the deepest level, because that's our basic human need, right? Is to have that connection, to have that unity within us as a human species.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why this came up for me. But I was like, I think a huge part of that too, because you were talking about that 1% growth, and I was like, and I think another huge piece of that too is to, and I'll say it this way: be harmonious with yourself. And I guess a simpler term would be kind to yourself.
Hmm.
Um, because we could look at it at times, I know I do, go back and replay stuff, and you can beat yourself up behind it, like, damn,
Hmm.
I never should have said that to that person, and then beat yourself up and stay in that literal hell, and create more hell.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really big part of it, because it is a process, and it's going to get easier. It won't ever go away fully, because we're human. We're going to have experiences. Um, yeah, but don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Don't confine yourself to a mental hell, um,
Right.
from what you're saying, because then it's going to come out and recreate itself, and now you're out of harmony with the relationships, because you're in hell and you're literally bringing hell to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of what we talked about when we brought this up on several, conversations before. It's just, thoughts, just being willing to journal on your thoughts and then spending time, like another column next to it's like, is this true? It's like these things these pressures that we put on ourselves about who we think we are or who we think we're being. And it may have been something that has nothing to do with us. It's just, society putting this tag on us or our friends putting this tag on us. And we decide, okay, it must be true then. So I think you, the listener, be willing to notice things about yourself when something comes up that doesn't feel harmonious and you feel that displacement of energy somewhere in your body and that thought comes up that you then connect to. Ask yourself, is this even real? Is this something true? Is this something that I can just pay more attention to and replace it with something different? And maybe that's just a thought. Maybe that's just writing something, an affirmation down and telling yourself every morning what your truth is, and then believing that and then living that. It's like, it takes time to build that consistency for all of us. I still, every morning sit down and come up with something that's important to me and what actions I need to take, a small percentage to move me forward in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe it. And although it could be hard to understand and see, I love because we were just talking the other day, and I love what you just brought it back up. It's like writing stuff down. Like, do whatever you have to get that positive vision or thought of yourself down. I do many different things. Write it, say it, take a video of it. But it is possible for you to have that. And it's really, really important that you tell yourself these things, because throughout the day, throughout life, your mind is constantly going to be telling you otherwise. So you have to consciously go in and say, no, mind, this is not true. I am enough. I will show up like this. And the more you do it, then the easier it'll become. And then you'll look up and just be like, holy cow, like that didn't even affect me. Or, yo, I really showed up the way I wanted to show, like I always envisioned myself. And a lot of that can come from, there's power in the pen and there's power in the words. They can make or break you. For real, for real.
Yep.
Well, man, we reached this mark quick. We reached this mark quick. Oh, man. Again, y'all, if y'all on here and you want to comment, if you're on Facebook, hey, just click the little link for StreamYard. And Scott Prismus, what's up, man?
Scotty,
we miss you, brother. What's going on?
You need to come back and visit us in the cave for sure.
Yeah. Love it.
But stay tuned for the 22nd, right? Said 20. Am I getting that date right? March 22nd with
22nd, March 22nd. That'll be
Monday. Yeah, mark your calendar. It's a Monday, same time, 6:30 Pacific time. So it's 9:30 on back east for Cedric in Texas. And join us. We'd love to have you experience Dom Campbell. Again, he's a fellow cohort in our coaching practice. Above and beyond that, he's just an amazing man, just creating impact in the world for his family, for his children. Just love the man. So just can't wait to share him with you. If you don't know Dom, you will know him after the 22nd of March and want to know more about him. So you'll have to join him.
Yeah, man. Nothing much, Scott, man. Just doing the show, just trying to show up, man, for whoever, that topic or the show is for, bro. That's it, man. Living and learning, living and serving, that type of stuff. So yeah, guys, man, March 22nd, I tune in. Again, an interactive show. We're going to have Dom Campbell, and we're going to be continuing this conversation. I just realized, Ron, that like the top of the month is a hard conversation for you and I to have, because I'm not gonna lie, I try and not give everything because I know some of the questions I have for the guests coming up. So it's like trying to navigate around all of that without what is it when somebody watch a movie and then they tell it? Spoil the
Us like spoiler alert, yeah.
spoiler alert. Yeah.
But yeah, and I agree. I think that's something that we're just kind of picking at the layer of us in our lives, and it's a freewheeling conversation. So I think the beauty of why we show up here for you guys and why we show up here for us is to maybe have some thoughts and ideas and what we is on our heart, on our mind that we want to share, but then just being our authentic self. I think if we don't commit continually to just having this authentic conversation and encouraging men to show that side of themselves, that vulnerable side, that connective to their feelings and all these things that allow us to be all that we can be, then what we're doing here is exactly what it needs to be. So thank you, every one of you that's showing up here for us. Thank yourself for showing up and taking time in your day to spend with us and yourself. This is something that we feel like is a mutual gift. You showing up here, us showing up for you, and just that beautiful growth together. So, love you, said man. Love everything that you bring to this amazing channel, and I'll let you say your goodbyes.
I love you too, man. Love you too. I love y'all, and I love this harmonious relationship we have with y'all, with each other. That was beautifully said, dude. Like y'all show up for us and we show up for y'all. That's harmonious. That's beautiful. So let's just continue it. And what better way to continue that than to subscribe, like, share, and then come back and see us with Dom Monday after next.
That's right.
So, hey, y'all, it's been great, man. Scott, appreciate it. He said, and before we get out of here, Scott, keep sharing and holding this place. Hey, we 3 years strong, brother. We don't plan on going nowhere. We're going to keep doing it, keep showing up because
coming after you, Scott. We're coming after you. You're coming back on, man.
Right? Because at the end of the day, man, we don't know who our message is for. So we show up, we do what we do and put it out in the world. And that's why we keep coming back, because we don't know. So, all right, y'all, until next week, man, we love y'all. Appreciate y'all.